They tell us that empires are shaped by swords, by battles, by the will of great kings. But one of the most powerful moments in Persian history began in silence, in a private chamber, with a single whispered sentence. In the heart of Persepolis, where stone palaces held the weight of ambition and dust carried the memory of conquest, a woman leaned close to the ear of the King of Kings. Her words were neither shouted nor recorded, yet they carried the power to save or undo an empire. This was no concubine, no ornament of the court. This was Atossa, daughter of Cyrus the Great, wife of Darius, and the unseen force guiding the Persian throne. Her influence, like that of many Persian women, was not carved into monuments, but it moved beneath history like a hidden river, shaping dynasties, steering wars, and preserving culture in ways the chronicles rarely acknowledged. Atossa's power was born of blood and of mind. As the daughter of the empire's founder, she carried the sacred lineage of Cyrus within her, a legitimacy no crown alone could grant. When Darius seized the throne in the turmoil following the death of Cambyses, he understood that conquest was not enough. He needed acceptance. His marriage to Atossa was not an act of love, but a deliberate bond to the past, anchoring his rule to the memory of Persia's greatest king. Yet Atossa was far more than a symbol. From the quiet vantage of the court, she observed rival satraps, restless nobles, and distant frontiers with a clarity that often surpassed that of the men who advised the king. Ancient whispers suggest it was her counsel that urged Darius to strengthen the empire from within, to divide it into satrapies, to bind it with the royal road, and eventually to look toward Greece. When questions of succession arose, it was Atossa's voice that carried decisive weight. Her son, Xerxes, though not the eldest, rose to the peacock throne by her design. And so, in shaping one ruler's fate, Atossa helped set the course for Persia's most legendary clash with the Western world. The march of Xerxes into Greece is a tale told with thunderous prose, but among his vast host sailed a woman who commanded her own ships. Artemisia, queen of Halicarnassus, was a Greek ally of Persia, a widow who ruled with an iron will. Her presence in the Persian war council was an anomaly that drew scorn and secret admiration. At the great review of forces at the Hellespont, her 5 sleek warships were a minor part of the armada, but her counsel weighed heavily on Xerxes. After the disaster at Salamis, where the Persian fleet was shattered by Greek cunning, it was Artemisia who advised the great king to retreat to Asia Minor, saving him from further humiliation and potential capture. Xerxes, in his despair, listened to her when he ignored his generals. "My men have become women," he lamented, "and my women men." Artemisia's story is one of calculated loyalty and survival, a testament to the nuanced power wielded by client rulers, especially women, within the Persian sphere. She navigated the treacherous waters of imperial politics and war, returning to her kingdom not as a defeated vassal, but as a respected ally, her autonomy intact. Centuries rolled on, empires rose and fell. The Parthians gave way to the Sassanians, who revived the Zoroastrian glory of Persia. In this era, another woman emerged from the confines of the harem to seize the reins of power directly. Purindok, daughter of the mighty Khosrow II, found the empire in chaos after her father's assassination and a rapid succession of weak rulers. The throne, soaked in blood, was offered to her, not out of progressive enlightenment, but out of desperate necessity. The noble families, exhausted by civil war, saw in her a figure of legitimacy, a living link to the revered Khosrow. Purandakhet, Queen of Queens, accepted the crown with solemn resolve. Her reign was brief but pivotal. She minted coins with her image, a bold declaration of sovereignty. She sought peace with the Byzantine Empire, ending a decades-long war that had drained the treasury and the populace. She attempted to restore justice and order, rebuilding the administrative infrastructure that had crumbled. Though her rule lasted but a year and a few months, she held the line against total collapse, proving that a woman could rule as decisively as any king. Her sister, Artemisia, would follow her, their combined reigns a flickering but bright testament to female capability in a world dominated by swords and succession wars. While Purandakhet ruled from the throne, other women wielded power from beside it. Shirin, the Christian wife of Khosrow II, was such a woman. Their love story is immortalized in poetry, but its political undercurrents run deep. Shirin was not a Persian by birth. She was from Armenia or perhaps Syria, a princess brought to the court. Her influence on Khosrow was profound. She used her position to advocate for religious tolerance, protecting Christian minorities within the Zoroastrian Empire. She built monasteries and churches, and her patronage of the arts enriched Persian culture. When Khosrow faced rebellion, it was Shirin who remained by his side, a symbol of his humanity and his connection to diverse peoples within his realm. Her power was soft, rooted in affection and respect, but it shaped policy and legacy. After Khosrow's fall, her tragic end only cemented her place in legend, a reminder that influence often flows through channels of love and loyalty as much as through decree and force. The Arab conquests brought seismic change, but Persian culture and identity endured, often nurtured in the courts of local dynasties. In the East, the Safavid Empire fostered a revival of Persian language and literature. Here, too, women played key roles. The mother of the great Vizier Balami, for instance, was renowned for her wisdom and her role in educating her son, who would go on to commission the first major Persian translation of Al-Tabari's history, thus preserving knowledge for future generations. In the shadows of these courts, matriarchs managed vast household estates, funded charitable endowments, and served as custodians of cultural memory. As Persia emerged from the Mongol invasions, the Safavid dynasty rose. Shi'ism became the state religion, and a new imperial culture was born. In this era, the harem became a complex institution of power. Pari-Khan Khanum, daughter of Shah Tahmasp I, was a master of its politics. Educated, shrewd, and formidable, she became her father's favorite and his unofficial advisor. Upon his death, she maneuvered with the skill of a veteran general to place her brother, Ismail II, on the throne. For a time, she was the de facto ruler, issuing commands and influencing state affairs. Her power, however, was precarious, rooted in the volatile alliances of the harem and the Kizilbash tribes. When Ismail II turned against her, her fall was swift and brutal, but her story illustrates the intense, behind-the-scenes influence that Safavid royal women could exert, often determining the fate of shahs and the stability of the realm. Beyond the royal courts, in the cities and caravanserais, women of means exercised economic power. Merchant widows managed vast trading networks, from the Silk routes to the Indian Ocean. A woman like Khatan Jan, known only through fragments of legal documents, might inherit her husband's commercial empire and run it with acumen, negotiating with foreign traders and financing caravans. In the religious sphere, female patrons endowed mosques, schools, and public baths, leaving their mark on the urban landscape. Their names, though often omitted from grand chronicles, are etched in foundation stones and waqf documents, silent witnesses to their agency. The narrative of power is not always one of crowns and commerce. In the realm of ideas, women shaped Persian thought. The poetry of the medieval period, suffused with mysticism, often featured divine feminine imagery and was composed in environments where female disciples and patrons were present. Rabia of Balkh, a legendary figure, is said to have been a poet and a princess whose tragic love story inspired verses, highlighting the cultural contributions of women. While historical details are sparse, the persistence of such stories speaks to a recognition of female intellect and artistic sensibility. In the twilight of the Persian empires, as the Qajar dynasty faced the encroachment of European powers, women continued to influence events. Malik Jahan Khanum, Mahdi Olia, the mother of Nasir al-Din Shah, was a formidable regent during her son's minority. She navigated the treacherous waters of court politics, balancing foreign interests and domestic factions. Her influence extended into her son's long reign, where she often intervened in appointments and policies. Similarly, Anis al-Dowleh, one of Nasir al-Din Shah's favorite wives, was known for her intelligence and her role in modernizing the royal household, even accompanying the Shah on his travels to Europe. These women, operating within the constraints of a changing world, used their positions to effect change, however incremental. The story of powerful women in Persia is not a linear saga of progress, but a tapestry woven with threads of audacity, intelligence, and resilience. From the dawn of the Achaemenid era to the modern age, they exercised power in myriad ways. As queens and regents, as advisors and conspirators, as patrons and entrepreneurs, as mothers and cultural custodians. Their power was sometimes overt, often subtle, but always a force to be reckoned with. They saved empires from ruin, guided kings to glory or restraint, preserved culture through upheaval, and defied the constraints of their times. In listening for their whispers amidst the roar of history, we hear the full, complex melody of Persia's past, a melody where the feminine note is essential, enduring, and profoundly powerful.